So what is field theory? We often hear that name, field theory. Is it something different from Newton's law? So we know Newton's law, F equals ma, and that works very well for the rigid body. And also the theory is extended to the elastic body, like a plastic or a steel, those material that's shrink or extend, stretch. We just need elasticity constant. It's like a Hooke's law. Remember this, the spring move around. This spring movement need a constant, the K, which is that represent the atomic level characteristic of this material. And with that help, Newton's law works very well. But when it's come to the fluid, we have a serious problem with Newton's law, F equals ma. So what's happened is, here's a story. The origin of new physics, field theory. So how do we solve the problem with fluid dynamics? Okay, using Newton's equation, Lagrange method, they try to solve the fluid dynamics. When the fluid goes through this tube like that, divide the cross section into many units and make a Newton's equation for each unit and solve this problem. Okay, this method is very complicated. The Newton's F equals ma for each chunk of fluid. This method is straightforward, but too many parameters to solve and bunch of useless information. So the genius Euler proposes sprinkle black powder on the fluid and see the trajectory. And that's all we are interested in. We are not interested in individual chunk of waters at all, but we are interested in how water flow through the channel. Okay, so his idea is not necessary to know the motion of every part of fluid. Okay, we need to figure out how to get this trajectory. Just like you sprinkle black powder, you see the trajectory. How do we get that? And that's the line in the space. How its flow is the line in the space. So that is a field. So it's the origin of field theory. So we don't care the mass flow through which physical point. We care only the velocity of fluid at a certain point. So you have a space, the point in the space, and velocity is a function of location, and there's no time factors. F equals ma, a is a function of time, but time factor is not here. Well, if it's stationary fluid, then no time factor, t doesn't show up. If trajectory change over the time, then t will get in, so it's gonna be t. Okay, so density low and enclosed surface S. So basically this is what is going to happen. You have a source of the fluid and the sink. Between them there is a line, how it's flow. Okay, and source drain, the difference is going to be surface integral of density and ds. ds is the the element of the surface. So we establish divergent velocity equal 1 over rho and q minus d. Okay, so in order to simplify in the beginning, we set certain assumptions, stationary or non-stationary, and t comes in or t doesn't come in at all. So it's a totally different way to solve the problem. The Newton's equation is not used. Viscosity exists or not? No viscosity. Density is constant or not? Density is constant. That simplify the fluid dynamics, because if density change, that means the fluid is compressed or decompressed, and that makes the problem more complicated. So we need Newton's law. Basic law is Newton's law, but we apply to the pressure and speed. Was after manipulation of the equation, we get pressure has some partial differential equation. Now this is the details of how to get it. But at the end, what we get is the famous Bernoulli's equation, which is pressure and speed and potential energy is constant. Okay, so Bernoulli's equation becomes the basic of the fluid with this assumption, which is stationary and no viscosity and density is constant. Okay, so that is very useful equation to check the fluid characteristic. Now, using this differential form is this equation. So Newton's law basically dictated, but we don't deal with F equals ma. Instead, we have a way to get the trajectory of fluid without solving F equals ma. And that's a great part of the field theory. For example, we can analyze ramjet, right? The hot gas engine produced a thrust to the opposite direction of the gas exhaust. Use the Bernoulli's equation, then you will know how much thrust is generated. So this is the basic physics you need to learn. It's based on field theory in order to analyze like ramjet engines. Okay, I hope you enjoyed, and please check other videos. We have many other interesting videos. If you like, please subscribe. Thank you.